one day lost in the labyrinth of the mysteries contained in the pages of Plato and Porphyry, Iamblichus and Apuleius, my inner vision suddenly extended its bounds beyond the horizon. What fascinated me in the history of Empedocles was the torturing riddle of the beyond, as it presents itself to the individual man through his emotional life. But what terrifying vistas are produced by this enigma when stated for the whole of humanity? What is mankind's origin? What is humanity's destination? From what abyss has humanity escaped, only to plunge into what annihilation, or into what eternity? What relation does mankind bear to the cosmic powers working behind the apparent chaos of the universe in order to produce so marvelous a harmony? In the dense darkness, where the alarming materialism of our age wallows, it is no longer a matter of merely restoring the link between the visible and the invisible for individuals, but of demonstrating how fruitful is the working of the omnipotent beyond in the history of all humanity. With these thoughts, a new and ardent desire came to birth within me. I was filled with the impulse to trace the connection between the revelation of Eleusis and that of the Christ, in order to build a bridge between the lost paradise and earth plunged in darkness. Was it not necessary to reconstruct the living chain of the various religions, to restore to Hellenism and Christianity their original unity, to reconcile once again the whole tradition of East and West? At that instant, as in a flash, I saw the light that flows from one mighty founder of religion to another, from the Himalayas to the plateau of Iran, from Sinai to Tabor, from the crypts of Egypt to the sanctuary of Eleusis. Those great prophets, those powerful figures, whom we call Rama, Krishna, Hermes, Moses, Orpheus, Pythagoras, Plato, and Jesus, appeared before me in a homogeneous group. How diverse in form, appearance, and color! Nevertheless, through them all moved the impulse of the eternal Word. To be in harmony with them is to hear the Word which was in the beginning. It is to know and experience the continuity of inspiration in history as a historical fact. Could not this lightning vision, this moment of consciousness, become a new bridge to traverse the abyss separating earth from heaven? It was as if I had found my novum organum. This work, coming to me from the very center of things, was sufficient to last me for the rest of my life and far more. A new life opened, filled with the work on the great initiates and the inspiring help of Margherita Albana Magnati. Today, when one reads page after page of fascinating details and vivid impressions drawn from the spiritual life of humankind, one may believe that the whole of the great initiates flowed easily and rapidly from the pen of the author. Nothing could be further from the truth. Though Chérè's achievement ultimately brought him great joy, the writing of the great initiates was an arduous effort. His penetration into the spiritual world involved a constant inner struggle, and the entire task of writing the book required 10 years of strenuous work. After Chérè's return to Paris, he continued his work on the great initiates, and also became a regular contributor of articles on the history of religions, the drama, and on general cultural subjects to the Revue des Deux Mondes and the Nouvelle Revue. He wrote on the Greek dramas, the Druids, Joan of Arc, and other great figures of French history, the poetry of Shelley, the magic of Merlin, and repeatedly on the work of Richard Wagner. In August 1876, Chérè traveled to Beirut to attend the first complete performance of Wagner's Der Ring des Nibelungen, given in the newly constructed Festival Theater under the direction of Hans Richter. Among the people of many countries who flocked to Beirut for this great cultural event was the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. Chérè met Nietzsche and had had many conversations with him. Like Nietzsche, Chauret revolted against the crass materialism of the 19th century that was rampant everywhere. As he wrote, science is concerned only with the physical and material world. Ethical philosophy has lost the leadership of the minds of men. Religion no longer is supreme in the social life. Ever great in charity, it no longer radiates the spirit of faith. The arid concepts of the scientific world of his time, expressed in the work of people like Claude Bernard, the physiologist Berthelot, the chemist Auguste Comte, and Herbert Spencer, the positivist philosophers Émile Durkheim, the sociologist, the Hippolyte Taine, the psychologist, to name but a few, repelled him. On the other hand, observation had convinced Chauret that for the sake of temporal advantage, the Church had sacrificed its former high estate, had compromised its position. In place of true faith and love, he observed the theological skepticism of people like David Friedrich Strauss, who described the resurrection of the Christ as ein welthistorischer Humbug, and Ernst Renan, the ex-seminarist, who exclaimed about Christianity, "O divine comedy." In Chauret's view, such exclamations, greeted with appreciation by many cultured individuals of the time, were the spirit of Antichrist incarnate. His firm conviction was, today, neither the Church, imprisoned in its dogma, nor science, locked up inside matter, any longer knows how to make men whole. Science need not change its method, but it must broaden its scope. Christianity need not change its tradition, but it must understand its origins, its spirit, and its significance. The giants of French literature in the 19th century, with their rejection of any evidence of the existence of the spiritual world and their utter refusal to recognize inspiration as a source of creative work, gave Chauret great concern. He observed that art and literature have lost the sense of the divine. A large part of our youth has become interested in what its new masters call naturalism, thus degrading the beautiful name of nature, for naturalism is the systematic negation of the soul and the spirit. Thus, in the naturalistic writing of Anatole France, Émile Zola, and others like them, Chauret detected an infectious illness gnawing at the vitals of the cultural and spiritual life of his time.